Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 55 by 25 annual update. I'm Troy Wayman, President and CEO of One Acadiana. For those of you that don't know, One Acadiana serves as the local Chamber of Commerce for Lafayette and the regional economic development organization for 9 parishes across South Louisiana's Acadiana region. Our vision is to be one of the most high quality, sought after regions in the South for enjoying a prosperous career in an idyllic family environment. To advance this vision, One Acadiana's 5-year strategic plan set 5 goals. Number 1, attract and retain high-paying jobs. Number 2, ensure regional infrastructure investments. Number 3, strengthen Acadiana's workforce and attract new skilled talent. Number 4, enhance Acadiana's quality of place and business environment. And number 5, connect and support businesses locally and regionally. Today's event, of course, focuses on our goal number 3, talent development and educational attainment. You'll hear from a number of our partners about how we are working together toward the common goal of increasing the number of working age adults in Acadiana with college degrees or other high value credentials to 55% by 2025. Before we dive into the program, I want to take some time to acknowledge and thank One Acadiana's co-chairs for our Workforce and Education Committee. As all of our volunteer leaders do, these 2 folks have day jobs and have been extremely busy over the past couple of years, but they've been very, very dedicated and committed to helping us achieve our goals and directing and leading this committee. Karen Weibel is Vice President of Rural Health and Workforce Development for Ochsner Lafayette General, and Dr. Jermaine Ford, Vice President of Workforce and Economic Development for South Louisiana Community College. We welcome Karen and Jermaine to the virtual stage to say a few words. Karen and Jermaine, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me? Excellent, excellent. Good morning. I'm Karen Weibel, and I am the Vice President of Workforce Development and at Lafayette General's, Ochsner's Lafayette General. It is such an honor this morning and to be participating in this special event. This project is so vital to the sustainability of Acadiana's economy, especially considering the shift that we've had in the landscape for workforce since March of 2020. The onset of this pandemic, along with federal decisions surrounding the oil and gas industry, has resulted in a dire need to evaluate our future strategies with workforce development. One Acadiana's Workforce and Education Committee designed a sector approach for dissemination of workforce development opportunities within our Acadiana industries. It is essential that academia and employers all partner to create educational programs that support an earn while you learn platform to encourage higher education for our workforce. 55 by 25's focus on post-secondary degrees, certifications, or other high-value credentials is the catalyst for economic recovery in Acadiana. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Karen. And the economic prosperity of Acadiana depends on a well-educated workforce. Long gone are the days where someone could earn a good living without a post-secondary degree or high-value industry-based credential. Hence, the birthing of 55 by 25. 55 by 25's vision is an equitable education system that meets the region's need for talent and offers all Acadiana residents the chance for a better life through increased educational attainment. 55 by 25 goal of increasing the proportion of working age adults in Acadiana with post-secondary degrees, certificates, and high-value credentials to 55% by 2025. I am proud to announce that not even the global pandemic could stop this 55 by 25 initiative, because the secret sauce of our success within Acadiana are our people, our partnerships, and the priorities to accomplish this 55 by 25 initiative. Our colleges have remained open, our businesses are open, and our people are ready for a better life through educational attainment through degrees and short-term industry-based credentials in high-growth, in-demand fields. I'm Jermaine Ford, and I'm sticking to that message that we are on our way to accomplish 55 by 25 within the Acadiana region. Troy, I turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Jermaine. Thank you, Karen, so much for your leadership. You guys have been incredible. And Jermaine, I thought you were going to say I'm Jermaine Ford, and I approved this ad. That was a great presentation from both of you. Really appreciate your passion. Really appreciate your leadership and commitment to the committee and the support of 55 by 25, as it is, as Jermaine and Karen both mentioned, an incredibly important initiative for us throughout the entire region. During today's program, we'll highlight some specific 55 by 25 strategies we've focused on over the past year and in the current year. But first, we want to provide an update on what the data says. As you may know, One Acadiana maintains a 55 by 25 dashboard with data visualizations of our region's educational performance on several key indicators. The dashboard is available at 55by25acadiana.org/the dashboard. It's interactive and allows you to view data for a specific parish or for the entire region as a whole. One major indicator we want to update you on today is our overall educational attainment rate as a region. Based on the latest census data, 26.3% of Acadiana's adults aged 25 and older hold an associate degree or higher level of education. This number, however, does not include other high-quality credentials. Therefore, it doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't reflect the post-secondary certificates and occupational licenses, which can be just as valuable as an associate or a bachelor's degree. Lumina Foundation estimates that an additional 15.2% of our working age population has one of these non-degree credentials. That means about 41.5% of adults in Acadiana has earned either a post-secondary degree or another high-value credential. Now, the good news is that this number has been increasing, and based on the current trend line, the number will continue increasing to roughly 45% by 2025. Now, when we first started this program and we kicked it off, Anna Oslin gave me all the numbers that we had for the region. And for the past couple of years, I have been saying every time I talk about this, that based on current trend lines, we'll be at 42% by 2025. Therefore, we have a 13% delta to make up. Well, I'm excited to say that these numbers have changed now, and I can change that message that based on the current trend lines, we'll be at 45% by 2025, narrowing that delta, that gap, to just 10 percentage points. So we're getting closer to our goal of 55% by 2025. Now, what are we going to do to accelerate this progress toward the goal? Well, at this point, I want to hand it over to One Acadiana's Vice President of Policy Initiatives, Andre Bro, who will facilitate updates on our Year 2 progress and Year 3 strategies with some of our 55 by 25 partners. Andre?
We are really excited about today and excited about all of the great work happening throughout the Acadiana region to improve education and workforce opportunities. 3 of the initiatives in particular that One Acadiana is focused on over the past year are highlighted. We'll talk a little bit more about today. The first is the Love Our Schools Link and Learn initiative to bridge the digital divide. The second that we'll talk about that we've worked on over the past year is the Free the Transcript campaign. And thirdly, we'll talk about bridging the talent gap. Here to tell us more about Link and Learn are 3 of our 55 by 25 partners leading the charge on that. Anna Oslin of the UL Lafayette Blanco Public Policy Center, Ryan DiMaggio of the Schumacher Family Foundation, and Todd Mouton of the Pew Family Foundation. Anna, Ryan, and Todd, the floor is yours when you're up on the virtual stage. And Anna, if you try to share your slides, see if that works for you. We're having some technical issues with the slide sharing this morning.
How's that look? Okay. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Ryan, who's going to kick us off.
Good morning. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I was going to mute just to join in solidarity with Andre, but love you, Andre. Listen, thanks everybody for allowing us to be here this morning. Time compressed, so we're going to go pretty quickly. Link and Learn is an initiative of Love Our Schools, which was born out of the pandemic that occurred in 2020 in April, when the superintendent approached us and we asked how we could assist with Love Our Schools, and she said, you have to help us get kids connected. So that's what we did. Our objective was to create and support the school system by connecting kids. And what we figured out through a survey was that there were approximately 7,000 children in Lafayette Parish school system that lacked home internet connectivity. And so what we did is we grouped up with the community and we threw a lot of spaghetti on the wall, hoping that some of it would stick, and it did. And so some of the initiatives that we undertook to try to address the connectivity were that we, and if you could go to the next slide for us. Thank you. We expanded Wi-Fi to cover parking lots through 44 campus school buses. We launched a Link and Learn network through some technology at local churches and other community-based corporations. We established a community network where we brought in Wi-Fi in a geographic radius and mapped it out to help kids get connected, and a host of other initiatives. And the idea was we weren't sure what was going to work, but something needed to work. We even partnered with people like Cox and LUS Fibers and AT&T and T-Mobile to get hotspots and to actually bring internet connectivity to the home through subsidized short-term payments through the school board. Next slide. If you could go on to the next slide, Anna. Thanks. Hope that is the next slide. Sorry. Other things that we did was we built a pilot 4G, 5G wireless overlay network that's an academic facing network to try to bring free access to the internet to those who couldn't afford it. And Todd will talk about that a little bit more. It was just a tremendous effort by the community to raise up in support of all of these children. And I'm happy to report that as it stands today, we think the number of children without home internet connectivity within the Lafayette Parish school system has been reduced from 7,000 to a number around 1,000, and we're working to make that zero. I'll go ahead and turn that back over to you,
So this has been a huge effort, and many of you who are part of this this meeting this morning were a big part of working to create many of the different solutions. And so just, as we think about how we create solutions, whether it's getting our educational attainment rate up to 55%, or it's addressing connectivity issues for, our youngest children all the way through, to our college students, we realize that this is a community effort and that this is something that we couldn't have done without everyone involved here. And, there's every time we look at this list, we're like, oh no, there's more people that we need to add to it. So we realized that these are projects that were extremely relevant during the pandemic and continue to be relevant even as we move into, almost a post-pandemic world. We know that children need to be able to do their homework in order to, get to the next level, stay on track, and we're not on track. And so having home connectivity, really is important for a whole range of issues, whether we have a pandemic or not. So some of the things that we've worked on, let's see if I can switch slides here. One thing that was really exciting is we've come up with a Link and Learn Locator map. So even in a post-pandemic world, if children need to be doing their homework, if folks that don't have connectivity at home need to apply for jobs, if students need to upgrade their skills virtually for their workforce, there's a whole range of places that they can go and get that internet. And that has been part of this larger project. So we have a locator map that maybe Todd or Ryan can put in the chat for us. It's also on the One Acadiana's Bridging the Digital Divide page, so you can find it there. And so we're also thinking about, going too far, all the ways that we can continue to make a difference for children and continue to have connectivity as we move forward. So one of the great projects that we've been working on is building an academic network. So I'm going to turn it over to Todd to talk a little bit about what an academic network is, why it's different than a regular network, and what we're doing to do that.
Thanks, Anna. And I think that to kind of dovetail with y'all's comments, we've tried everything. And I think the most exciting part of this process has been that anyone we've asked for help has jumped in with both feet. And what you're looking at right now is probably something that back in June, we first met with a large group about this, that we would have called a long shot. And we've since named it Moonshot. And using some pretty fancy technology that's really kind of very much cutting edge CBRS technology, it's essentially a 4G, 5G network. We are currently testing our own system for giving children filtered, secure, academic only internet. And what you can kind of see in this image is a circle that shows it's about 6 miles across, and it shows that there are about 1,500 students that back in May did not have internet service in that circle. And through this technology, which we're currently testing, we could potentially reach that many kids. We could potentially go parish-wide. We've got a number of partners. InfoLink USA is a local technology firm that's been an incredible partner, and also LUS Fiber, but lots of other volunteers. And as you can see in the next slide, we are piloting this project over at Holy Family Apartments. And on the left, you see an antenna out at the LUS Fiber head end. It's got some of the radio heads. On the right side, you see the little dongles that would connect to the LPSS Chromebooks, which are pictured at the bottom right. And then in the center, you see some of us in one of the apartments. And we were actually video chatting with one of our partners, Matt Delcom, over at UL Lafayette through some essentially freeware video conferencing. So there's a lot of potential for solving and addressing this problem in many different ways. And we kind of just wanted to show you all that we've sort of worked our way through a lot of solutions, but I think there are a lot more to go. When you look around the country, folks are trying to address this issue in many ways. And I think in Acadiana, we can be very proud of all the efforts that have gone into beginning to address this problem and creating a more even playing field for children going forward, so that they can do their homework, they can do their schoolwork anytime, anywhere, and we're moving much closer to that vision. If anyone would like to join forces with us or get more info, we have our contact info here, and we're pretty easy to track down. But I want to thank particularly One Acadiana and Schumacher Family Foundation, because on behalf of Pew Family Foundation, none of us can do this alone, and we couldn't have gotten this far without a summer and a fall of really hard work. And as we go into the spring, I think we can be really, in summer, we can be really hopeful. So thank you all. And I think we go back to the host.
Transition you back to the audience. I'll talk a little bit about another one of our 55 by 25 priorities over the past year, and that was the passage of HB 676 by Representative Julie Emerson, or the Free the Transcript Bill, as we refer to it. That legislation aims to mitigate a major barrier for adult learners to return to school by authorizing post-secondary management boards like the UL system or the Louisiana Community and Technical College system to adopt policies that prohibit withholding academic transcripts for debt collection purposes. One Acadiana communicated our support to legislators, including testimony at the Capitol, emails, calls, tweets to legislators, a coalition letter with 21 organizations signed on, and a call to action with more than 50 responses. And the work on that initiative continues as we advocate for passage of those policies at the system level. Thirdly, the third year 2 strategy that we wanted to update you on today was our Bridging the Talent Gap Employer and Employee Engagement campaign. And if you were with us at the UL Student Union for last year's 55 by 25 Summit, you may remember we kicked off our Bridging the Talent Gap Employer Survey. And we had more than 150 employers from across the region participate in that survey. And that survey generated a lot of data that helped us build a dashboard on the regional skills, hiring, and learning landscapes, which is informing our work. And then that led into an employee survey that we did later in 2020 in partnership with MacLaugh Inc. And through the partnership with MacLaugh Inc. on our Bridging the Talent Gap Employee Survey, more than 400 of their McDonald's employees from across the region participated. The goal of the initiative is to encourage those employees to pursue further education. And that is something that MacLav actively supports, and they do so through their Archways to Opportunity initiative. MacLav's training supervisor, Charletta Thomas, is a graduate of Archways to Opportunity, and her current role at MacLav allows her to inspire others on the same journey. To recognize Charletta and to thank her for championing our Bridging the Talent Gap initiative, we are honored today to present Charletta with this year's 55 by 25 Accelerator Award. And I'm going to do some sophisticated screen sharing here to show you, hopefully you can see this, our 55 by 25 Accelerator Award for Charletta. So congratulations, Charletta. We are calling you up to the virtual stage because we want you to have the opportunity to say a few words. And as we call you up too, I'll just point out that this award is presented annually to an individual or organization who has helped accelerate progress on our 55 by 25 goal. And we're so appreciative of the work that you have done and the team at MacLav has done in that effort.
Wow, Andre, you snuck that one on me, didn't you? Thank you. Oh, I can't say enough about the leadership that we have at MacLav, supporting all of the initiatives that we have, especially with Archways to Opportunity for our staff. By being engaged and being a subject matter expert just helps me to help others navigate through the process of continuing education. So that's what I appreciate about all these efforts. And again, I humbly accept the award. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Charletta. And we'll actually be on another virtual event tomorrow together to talk about bridging the talent gap with some communities in Texas who are pursuing the same initiative. So thank you again for the partnership. Thank you to the team at MacLav. And we really appreciate all of the work that y'all have done to help us on this journey toward 55 by 25.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, and we're going to transition now to kind of the next part of our agenda, which is our updates on strategies for year 3 of the 55 by 25 initiative. And these are all things like all of the work that we do is in partnership with tremendous partners throughout the region. 3 of the partnerships that we are focused on this year are Unite Louisiana, which is funded by a National Governors Association grant, also the Skill Up Louisiana initiative, and then supporting the MJ Foster Promise program. And we're going to talk about all 3 today. We'll turn the floor over now actually to talk about the first of those initiatives, Unite Louisiana. We'll turn the floor over to one of our key partners on that initiative, Carly Almabar, President and CEO of the United Way of Acadiana. And as you're coming up to the virtual stage, we thank you, and we'll turn it over to you as soon as you are up. And there you are.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Andre, thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you all for having us today at United Way of Acadiana. We're very excited to be a part of this partnership. Of course, we're very excited to be involved with 55 by 25. Many of you that are here today know that United Way has a longstanding commitment to educational attainment, and many of you have been familiar with some of our work in elementary and high schools, and that's very important. You may be less familiar that we do have a specific educational strategy that is about helping support students in a post-secondary environment to help develop students' knowledge and or skills for career and college readiness. And so we're really excited about this partnership and this opportunity to assist with Unite Louisiana, because what we have learned over the years is that so often we have folks that are willing to attain these degrees, but there are so many things that are in their way as obstacles to that getting that degree that have nothing to do with educational ability, aptitude, or willingness. It's about what else is going on in their life. And so we're very grateful to be a partner with the National Governors Association in this grant, Educate for Opportunity, and a shout out to our partners at the Board of Regents as well. That this grant is really about using the Unite Louisiana platform that Andre suggested to remove barriers for adult learners. We at United Way of Acadiana, we're helping lead a pilot for nonprofits and state agencies in our region to ensure that folks that enter this pilot do not fall through the cracks because of other barriers to achieving education. So, if you have an adult learner who's very motivated and is ready to go back to school, but, maybe it's a childcare issue that is preventing them from getting their degree or making it harder for them to succeed in school or other types of social services. And this grant is using the network of nonprofits and state agencies in the region to help those learners make sure that those aren't the obstacles that keep them out of school. So recently, just as an example, through this pilot to kind of make it a little more concrete, we are working with a single mom whose house burned down, so that we are working with her to help find resources so that in the aftermath of such a traumatic event, she's a single mom, she's gone back to school, we are connecting her through the Unite Louisiana platform with all the resources that she needs, so that the thing that doesn't slip through the cracks in this really challenging time in her life is her education, so that she can stay in school despite this major challenge. Now, often we aren't dealing with things like a house fire, but we are glad that we can help this particular mom and help her find the resources she needs working with her to ensure that she can stay in school during this difficult time. It's really important to emphasize that, we not only work with these students, but without the network of organizations and state agencies to make connections to increase the resources, then this project can't succeed. So we're really excited to work with partners that I see in this room today, as well as One Acadiana and others, to make sure that we can support adult learners in our community as they go towards achieving their educational goals. So thank you. And again, thanks to One Acadiana and all the great work that you guys are doing to help advance this initiative forward. We are so appreciative.
Thank you, Carly. Thanks to you, thanks to Heather, thanks to Monique and the team at One Acadiana, at United Way of Acadiana, I'm sorry, for y'all's support of this. And also thanks to the team at the Blanco Center, Stephen Barnes, Anna Oslin. Thanks to our higher ed partners, in particular, Dr. Margarita Perez at UL, Kyle Smith at LSUE, and Cheryl Frugier at SLCC. This is really a team effort. And as we talk about, and as kind of the social media push that's going out on those campuses talks about, we know that help outside the classroom can help someone succeed inside the classroom. And that's what this initiative is all about. So we're going to go ahead and transition over to our next update, which is on the Skill Up Louisiana initiative. And Skill Up is a national campaign actually to connect COVID displaced workers with training and jobs. And thanks in part to the Louisiana Community and Technical College Systems Reboot Your Career initiative, Louisiana was chosen as the second site in the country, second only to Los Angeles, where Skill Up has been launched. And thanks in part to our 55 by 25 initiative, Acadiana was chosen as one of 3 regions within Louisiana for localization. What localization means is that we can better highlight some of the high quality short-term training options offered by our partners in this region. Particularly, you'll notice on the Skill Up Louisiana site, programs offered by SLCC, programs offered by LSU Eunice. And that website is skillup.org/Louisiana. Information on those high demand occupational pathways, the short-term training that's aligned with those pathways, and then also links to that aggregate from job boards to job postings. So please help us spread the word about the Skill Up Louisiana initiative with anyone who may be looking for a new path to a high demand career. Speaking of that, speaking of helping adult learners access high demand training, a third key 55 by 25 priority this year is support of legislation to establish the MJ Foster Promise Program. Here to tell us more about that is Dr. Monty Sullivan, Chancellor of the Louisiana Community and Technical College System. And Dr. Sullivan, we are going to call you up to the virtual stage now. And when you appear, and here you are, the floor is yours.
Very good. Thank you, Andre. And I have to tell you, the excitement around 55 by 25 is contagious. I'm so impressed with the work that is going on there with One Acadiana, with all of the partners involved. What is reinforced to me in listening to the presentation this morning is that it takes everyone. It takes all partners to be able to accomplish that goal of 55%. I was thinking about that 10% gap that was referenced earlier. Really, the reality is the MJ Foster Promise Program can be the solution for that 10% gap. We are proposing, as a part of the 2021 legislative session, a bill that is being sponsored by President Paige Cortez, as well as Speaker Clay Schexnayder, a bill that would create a promise program that eliminates cost as a barrier for our adults to gain an associate degree, to gain short-term training in a high demand, high value field. This effort is obviously named in honor of the governor, who really is the father of community and technical colleges in this state. Today, we have 12 two-year colleges in the community and technical college system. Locally there, South Louisiana Community College as your college. In addition to that, we also have embraced both our friends and colleagues at Louisiana State University at Eunice, as well as the folks at Southern University Shreveport, offering opportunities for people to be able to be trained, educated, and skilled. Louisiana has a strong game when it comes to aid for those students who are able to perform at a set level, be it GPA, ACT, etc. The challenge that we have is 1.1 million working age adults who have a high school diploma or less. And so when you think about that 55%, that is the target population that we have to find a way to get into our colleges, to get them educated and skilled in a way that allows them to engage in the economy. That is the purpose of the MJ Foster Promise Program. The program would begin in July of 2022. It will have a $10 million cap. Students will qualify for up to $3,200 per year, a maximum of $6,400 across a lifetime. The goal here is not just simply to get individuals one credential, but rather to allow them to stack credentials across time to earn degrees. Not only to earn associate degrees, but also potentially to be able to move on and finish the baccalaureate degree. But the Foster Promise Initiative is an on board for Louisiana's adults. I want you to imagine for a second that you are a single mother with a couple of kids at home with a high school diploma. How do you make it in this economy? That's a tough set of circumstances. The MJ Foster Promise Program provides a lifeline to people, a hand up, if you will, who can show up at South Louisiana Community College, who can earn a credential that will put them to work, that will allow them to be able to take care of their family, to participate fully in this economy, and to be a productive tax-paying citizen of the state of Louisiana, which is the broader goal that I think helps our business community to succeed, but also helps our people to succeed. So we are excited about the effort. The bill was up before Senate Education yesterday, received unanimous support. I want to give a shout out to President Paige Cortez, who did a phenomenal job presenting this bill in front of Senate Education yesterday. And I know the abilities of your good senator, and certainly he was on the mark yesterday and could not ask for a better sponsor of the bill, and very much thankful for his support in this effort. But glad to answer any questions that you may have about the MJ Foster Promise Program, and certainly look forward to the impact that it will have in Acadiana in helping to accomplish 55 by 25. Andre, I'll turn back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. Thank you and your team's leadership on this. Kudos goes out to Senate President Paige Cortez as well. It's going to take all a team effort, just like with everything we're doing, to get this bill over the finish line in the best possible form. So We encourage all advocates for adult learners to reach out to their legislator in support of this bill. And we have set up on the 55 by 25 website an easy way. You can click a button and we have a pre-populated email or you can send an email directly to your legislator in support of this legislation. Next up, and our final speaker today, who will really help us illustrate the human impact of these initiatives. We are honored to be joined by a recent SLCC and UL Lafayette graduate, Adam Davis. Adam's inspiring story demonstrates the power of education to transform lives. And now Adam is paying it forward to help others on their journey. So as we call Adam up to the virtual stage, Adam, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Bro. It's a pleasure to be here, everyone. I'm here to share a bit about my journey. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into it. So allow me to start things off by sharing a little backstory about myself. I'm originally from the eastern part of New Orleans in a small area known as Michoud. My grandparents were responsible for raising me. I did not have a traditional upbringing, as my dad was mostly absent in my life, and my mom struggled with mental health issues, which made it difficult for her to care for me. In August 2005, Hurricane Katrina struck and impacted the lives of millions of Americans. I was only 12 years old at that time. My family, living in New Orleans, made the decision not to evacuate. Instead, we left our home and stayed in a nearby hotel. Throughout that event, we experienced flooding, people panicking and fighting, fire alarms going off inside the hotel. I remember walking in water up to my shoulders, my little brother crying, the fear of being robbed, and the expression on my grandmother's face that she was stricken with fear by the situation. The National Guard, responsible for coming and rescue us and getting us out of that situation. They brought us to the Ernest M. Convention Center. We stayed there for a while, and that experience in itself was scary, seeing other families that were in a similar situation, such as us. It was hot with no power, no working bathrooms, and there was no privacy. We all stayed huddled together on the convention center floor, waiting out the time when we can escape this disaster. Through the end of it all, we managed to make it safely to Baton Rouge, where we stayed with some relatives before relocating to Lafayette. The next few years felt like a recovery phase. We lost our home, most of our personal items, and coping with the fact that we had to start our lives all over again. Of course, my journey did not just end there. In the late part of 2015, at 22 years old, I received a lot of encouragement and support from my grandmother to go back to school again. She had observed the amount of time I spent at the computer, studying for several hours each day. At that point, I was already in the mental state where I wanted to continue my education. There was a lot of self-doubt and fear of failure that prevented me from executing my plans to proceed. After being given that extra push I needed, I took an assessment exam with adult education. I remember feeling nervous and a sense of unease when I went there. When I met with the proctor, after finishing my exam, to my surprise, she had informed me that I scored exceptionally well on this test. She ended up designed to help others succeed beyond their education. It was called KITE, Keeping Youth Trained and Employed. Now, there is something I want to acknowledge here. This was not my first time going to adult education, going back to school since Hurricane Katrina. I tried much earlier in 2012. The first time I tested with adult education in 2012, it must have taken me over an hour just to get my name on the paper. The post-trauma of Hurricane Katrina and the hopelessness I felt within and inhibited my ability to try anything at first. My mom and my grandmother had to sit beside me that day, encouraging and pushing me to finish my exam. On that test, I scored below average. They had to start me back at the beginning of K through 12. I did continue. Over the course of many months, I attended classes and studied with my peers that I saw come and go. I remember my grandmother always being so supportive. She would tell me to try my best. Now, I didn't always get that feedback. On the opposite spectrum, the teacher that I did have did not see that same potential. I remember a comment she made the first day I tested with them, and I will never forget her saying, "I guess we know your limits." The motivation I received from those close pushed me to continue trying, eventually finishing out the program and being recommended to take the state GED exam. This is in 2012, mind you. Unfortunately, I never did follow through on that last step. As a father figure, died in 2013 to the final stages of Alzheimer's disease. Losing him left a void in my family, shifting the whole dynamic. It sent me into a state of depression, unable to function in the years that followed. So now getting back to 2015, when I was allowed this new opportunity to finish my education, I took it as one last chance to better myself. I made a promise to myself and to God that I would not give up. I would not let my fears stop me ever again. I started the KITE program that following spring, and within 3 months' time, I completed the program and earned my HiSET diploma. An obstacle I could not even fathom overcoming months and years prior. It was a great achievement at the time. After that, things only got better. I initially started working with SLCC under a temporary contract. A lot of the full-time they motivated me to continue my education and enroll in college. They even helped me fill out my application. I started as a full-time student with SLCC in spring 2017. It was a whole new learning environment and one I was excited to be a part of. At the end of my semester, I performed above and beyond my expectations, making on the dean's list that semester and every semester following. Fast forward to present day. I'm a University of Louisiana at Lafayette since December 2020. I graduated with honors, magna cum laude with a 3.78 GPA. I overcame many obstacles as I worked towards earning my Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. I've been an employee for SLCC for almost 5 years now. In that time, I have met a lot of amazing, talented people. Without the support of SLCC, my family, God, I would not be where I am today. I'm truly indebted to all those that were supportive of my academic journey. Now I find myself in a new place in life where I can help others. I can honor my family by becoming a provider of the household, but I can also impact those that I meet who are in a similar situation I was in only a few years ago. And I just want to finish things off and just take to heart that if you find yourself in a position where you can mentor and guide others, help them, for we all have great potential within. Sometimes it takes another to help us see in ourselves what we are truly capable of. That concludes my presentation. Thank you. And I'll just hand it over to the next speaker.
Thank you, Adam. Your story is truly inspiring and really helps show why all of the initiatives that we talked about today are so important to help young men, young women like you pursue further education and into kind of on a better path forward. And we're so proud of the work you're doing now. And just like Charlotta, you are helping pay it forward by helping others on the same journey, which is so amazing. So thank you again for being with us today, and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. You all have a great day.
And we're going to transition back now to our president and CEO, one Acadiana's president and CEO, Troy Wayman, to close us out.
Wow. Adam, thank you. What an amazing and inspirational story. Charlotta, thank you for everything you did and what an amazing partner you were to us and are to us, as well as all of McLaugh. And we can't thank you guys enough. Achieving success on our 55 by 25 goal would not be possible without such strong partners throughout our entire region and the state. I'll echo the comments of Dr. Sullivan and Andre in thanking Senate President Paige Cortez and for the MJ Foster Promise Program bill. We're blessed to have such incredible leadership in Baton Rouge from our region, and it is not without a lot of perseverance that they have gotten to where they are and represent us well, and we're so grateful for that leadership. As we adjourn today's event, I want to encourage you to visit our 55 by 25 website at 55by25acadiana.org. At the top of that page, you'll see two buttons with easy opportunities to take action. The first is a link to the Skill Up Louisiana program, which we encourage you to share with anyone who may be looking for a new path to a higher demand career. And the second link is to send an email to your legislator to support the MJ Foster Promise program. Dr. Anna Oslin has been on top of things and has been sharing those links as we've gone along, and we really appreciate that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Anna, and I know she's been mentioned several times in today's meeting, but since the inception of this, the implementation of this 55 by 25 initiative, she has been a stalwart. She's been incredibly engaged and continues to be so. And our partnership with the Blanco Center is so incredibly important to us as our partnership with all of our partners across the region. But we are really, really encouraged to have that partnership and to have that support. And Anna, I want to thank you for all the efforts you've done, not only in 55 by 25, but in Link and Learn as we've moved those programs forward. You know, we've in a lot of ways today, we're preaching to the choir, and we understand that. And what we want to challenge you all to do is to get out and share the message and the importance of what we're doing. If Adam's story is not enough for you to share and to tell others about the importance of what this initiative can accomplish and what it can mean, then I don't know what other story you would need. But Adam, thank you again for sharing that story. You know, we've tried to make it super easy for you to add your voice in support of these critically needed programs for adult learners. If you have questions or comments, please reach out to us. We want to continue these programs, and it's important to our success, not only as an organization, as One Acadiana, but as a region. As I say all the time, our main goal is to create and preserve jobs. And without the right education system and without getting our educational attainment to the spot that it needs to be, we're not going to be successful at those things. Workforce is something that's critically important, and I think the folks at McLaugh and all of the other businesses here can speak to that, the importance of having that workforce. So at this point, we want to transition back to our virtual lobby, where you'll have an opportunity to network some more, talk with others, and I encourage you all to share what you've heard today with others in our community so that we can achieve this goal of 55 by 2025. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.